3 weeks left in the Texas high school football regular season, and the fight for the playoffs begins now. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks presented by Visit Arlington, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Week 9 of the Texas high school football season is now upon us, and if you kind of feel like the season is coming to a close, that's because it is. We're just 3 weeks out from the final week of the Texas high school football regular season, and then it is playoff time. So it feels like the games are getting bigger. That's because these games matter even more down the stretch. There are huge games all across the state, but we start in Beaumont. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Memorial Field in Beaumont. It is a 21-6A slugfest between the Beaumont Westbrook Bruins and the Galena Park North Shore Mustangs. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number one, starting fast, and that has been the name of the game for the Bruins this year. Westbrook has been sensational in the first half of games this year. In fact, they have not trailed at halftime yet this season. And if you go back to what was arguably their biggest game of the year when they took on then undefeated Beaumont United, they came out and made a statement, taking a 32-16 lead into halftime and never looking back. It is absolutely critical for the Bruins to start fast in this game. Can they run out to a lead on the defending champs? Key number two, full strength. And that is what Galena Park North Shore is slowly getting back to. You know, the Mustangs have been without a number of their key weapons throughout the course of the year, whether it's running back Zachary Evans, who was held out of a couple of games earlier this season, or it's been wide receiver Shadrack Banks, who is just now back from a nagging foot injury that cost him the first half of his season. But they are getting healthier, and for Demetrius Davis, their outstanding quarterback, that's good news. He's got more weapons around him. But look, there's going to be a little bit of rust once they get all these weapons back on the field. Now that North Shore is back up to full strength, what do they look like? And key number three, 49 points. That's the margin by which Galena Park North Shore beat Beaumont Westbrook last year, 56-7, in what was just another demolition on behalf of the eventual 6A Division I state champs. You know, a lot of the talk around this game is going to focus on the fact that both these teams played for state titles last year. North Shore, of course, won it with that remarkable Hail Mary victory over Duncanville a year ago, and Beaumont Westbrook gave Longview everything it wanted before eventually falling short in the 6A Division II state championship game. But remember, we do have a data point here, and that data point is 49 points. That's what currently we believe separates North Shore from Westbrook. Now, I think Westbrook is better than they were last year, especially on the defensive side. They've really impressed me, and quarterback Trevor Yeoman has stepped up in a big way. But North Shore is North Shore, and for Westbrook, they have to close that 49-point gap. Can they? Who am I picking? I'm going with Galena Park North Shore. I think one thing we haven't mentioned much so far is their defense, but the Mustangs' defense is really hitting on all cylinders, and I feel like it has grown up over the past couple of weeks. We know that they were going to have to replace some pieces from last year's team, and it looks like those pieces are starting to fill in. Now, look, if you're Beaumont Westbrook, you want to hit a couple of home runs with your outstanding quarterback Trevor Yeoman and what has been a really good running game for the Bruins. I think they want to turn this into a slugfest, make this a bit of a home run hitting contest because they have the weapons on the outside to challenge this North Shore defense. But I will say that with North Shore getting healthier, that is scary for everybody in all of 6A. I think that a full-strength North Shore brings home a victory. Let's keep it on Thursday night, 7 o'clock Thursday night at Vernon Newsom Stadium in Mansfield as the Mansfield Summit Jaguars welcome in the DeSoto Eagles for a District 7 6A clash. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, offensive balance. You know, there's a lot of talk about these two quarterbacks in this game. Mansfield Summit quarterback Caden McKinney has been really, really good, and I'm starting to believe that Samari Collier, the quarterback for DeSoto, is becoming more and more of a household name. But I believe that the winner of this game is going to be the one who ends up dictating the running game, who is able to find that offensive balance that makes both of these offenses so dangerous. Jaden Lott, the running back for Mansfield Summit, has been really solid so far, and when he gets going, the Jaguars are pretty hard to stop. To say nothing of Jason Brown, the running back for DeSoto. This is a team that when they are able to establish a ground game, makes that passing game all the more dynamic. So, who can find that offensive balance? Key number two, juniors off the edge. And if you are interested in young prospects at the pass rushing position, this game is for you. You're going to see two of the very best and brightest young stars in the pass rushing game. For DeSoto, it's Shemar Turner. The defensive end has been absolutely sensational, already has 8 sacks on the year, and he is a menace off of the edge. And for Summit, it's Cameron Washington, who has been really excellent this year, and I think is starting to have his coming out party. He had 8 sacks on the year coming into this game, and he figures to be a problem for the DeSoto offensive line. So, which edge rusher can have a big game, and more importantly, which offensive line can stand up to the test? And key number 3, late and close. So Mansfield Summit has actually pulled out some pretty impressive victories so far in their 6-1 year, and they've done it in a way that makes you feel like they're growing up. Their win last week over South Grand Prairie really showed me something. They were able to close out a very close game, much like they did against rival Mansfield a few weeks before that. DeSoto, well, they haven't played a close game. Really and truly, they've kind of come out there and dominated everyone that they have played, and that's not to say that that's a bad thing. I'm quite sure that Claude Mathis is not going to apologize for going out there and dominating most of his games. But if this game does become late and close, is that an advantage for Summit? Who am I picking? I'm going with DeSoto. I really think that this quarterback, Samari Collier, is the difference for this DeSoto team. He is growing up in a hurry, and he is becoming one of the most dangerous players in all of the DFW Metroplex. And if they're able to get the run game going, that's going to make them especially dangerous as well. Not to mention, their defense has been great, and Shemar Turner is certainly worth the price of admission. For me, the name of the game for Mansfield Summit is going to be protecting the ball. You don't know how many possessions you're going to have in this game. They have to play a clean game and hit a couple of home runs over the top to pull this upset. I think this game has a chance to be close, but I think DeSoto brings home the victory. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Buccaneer Stadium in Corpus Christi. It's a massive battle on the Coastal Bend as Corpus Christi Miller takes on Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. And let's just take a moment to acknowledge what Justin Evans has done at Corpus Christi Miller. This is truly remarkable. Their win over Flower Bluff last week was really impressive. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me paint it to you this way. From 2014 to 2016, Corpus Christi Miller won 3 games. 3. They're now undefeated and on the cusp of winning their first district championships since 2001. What a job that coaching staff for the Buccaneers has done. But now they get a big test because it's going to be quarterback Andrew Bodie for Miller taking on what has been an outstanding Veterans Memorial defense led by their linebacker Jaden Mora. The key for me is going to be Veterans Memorial's running game. Can Kobe Piper have a big game, keep the ball away from this explosive Buccaneers offense? But you know what? I'm a believer. I think Corpus Christi Miller brings home the victory. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Hawk Stadium in Wall. It's a matchup of 3A unbeatens as the Wall Hawks take on the Eastland Mavericks. And after last week where we had 6 matchups of undefeateds, this is the only matchup of undefeated teams in the state of Texas, and yet what a game it is. You know, Wall was awful impressive last week in their other matchup of undefeateds when they took down Jim Ned 14-7. The defense was absolutely sensational in this one, and they will need to be great again going up against Texas Tech commit Baron Morton and this high-powered Eastland aerial attack. This is a different challenge for this Wall defense, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Eastland attacks them. Wall's 48-game district winning streak is in legit peril in this game, but I think the Hawks pass this test. Give me Wall. And 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Tiger Stadium in Rockdale. It's one of the great rivalries in Texas high school football, the Battle of the Bell, as the Cameron Yeomen take on the Rockdale Tigers. And you know this game has lost a little bit of its luster because of some uncharacteristic district losses for both of these teams. But I'll tell you, I think it has a new sense of urgency because if you take a look at the district standings, the loser of this game really may end up seeing Grandview in the first round of the playoffs. That is very, very bad news. So I expect both teams to pull out all the stops in this one. 2 great quarterbacks going at it for this matchup. Well, you got Cameron Yo, quarterback Braden Brashear. He has been very solid to go up against Rockdale quarterback Jace Robinson. But who finds stops? This game's going to be pretty pointsy if history tells us anything. In fact, the last 14 matchups between these two teams have averaged 67 points a game. So feels like this is going to be a bit of a high-scoring shootout. This game figures to be close. I think I like Cameron Yo by a hair. But those are far from the only big games in Week 9 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. Malakoff gets by Dallas Madison. Give me San Antonio Roosevelt over San Antonio Johnson. And I like Southlake Carroll over Keller Central. Lufkin beats Magnolia West. Rawls beats Tahoka. And give me Alvin Shadow Creek to keep rolling with a win over Richmond Foster. Give me Laredo United over Laredo Nixon. I'll take Poth to beat Natalia. And I like Rockwall over Tyler Lee. Falls City beats Charlotte. Pflugerville Weiss beats Georgetown Eastview to take control of that wild district. And I like Post to get by Sundown. El Paso Americas beats El Paso Pebble Hills. Mission gets by McAllen Row in a big-time matchup down in the Valley. And the Rebs are back, baby. I like Midland Lee over Amarillo Tascosa. I like Austin Westlake over Buda Hayes. Midland Greenwood beats Fort Stockton. And Lancaster gets by Mansfield Timberview. Great matchup of 4A quarterbacks, but I like Argyle to get by Melissa. Give me Dumas over Canyon in a close one. And in a suddenly very interesting game in Central Texas, I like Hewitt Midway over Colleen Shoemaker. Hawley beats Stanford. Beeville Jones stays perfect with a win over Bernie. And what may be the first of 2 meetings, I like Geronimo Navarro over Wimberley. Fort Bend Ridgepoint beats Fort Bend Elkins. The Mustache lives. I like Alice over San Antonio Southside. And give me El Paso Franklin over El Paso Montwood. Canadian stays perfect with a win over Friona. Give me Anderson Shiro to stay perfect with a win over Corrigan Camden. And in our 6-man game of the week, we got a big one. I like McLean over White Deer. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/DaveCampbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/DaveCampbells. And of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy week 9 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you.